Welcome back to the program, episode 2906 of the award-winning podcast, Number Not Funny. David Well just broke his ear taking a mask off of his face.
Designer mask.
It's a very fancy mask. Did you wear that to the Emmys last night?
I did. This is. I had to buy 5. Buck Mason, which is apparently a hip store that my son, the hipster, not the son you know, the hipster son, told my wife, this is the coolest mask.
Why is that the coolest mask? Walk me through why. It's got some sort of a hook on it.
You're asking me what fashion? I don't know.
I can't.
Clearly, but I just figured I should wear. Here's the thing. I didn't know if I was going to the Emmys. I didn't know when I was going to the Emmys. The process before you lose can be so humiliating. This is my 20th anniversary of losing.
How many of you won?
I have won one this year. I won a daytime Emmy, the mocked by Jason Alexander, I believe, last night daytime Emmy for the Spirit Awards. This year, I have been losing for 20 years. I was Lucci-like until, and I've lost with my beautiful, beloved wife every time. So last night I got to lose on my own.
Well, so look, I'm going to interrupt you to say this. So I see you at your table. You're there, and I'm like, oh, that's great. But I keep looking for Fran. I keep looking to see where she is.
I always am looking for Fran.
And you were there you could not bring Fran.
I barely could bring me. The way it worked this year was truly insane. Like you're so honored and you're also humiliated because the way it works when you're nominated for a show is they announce the show is nominated, but they do not announce that who is nominated for the show. And you have to be, I think they put me down, but also the show can change who is nominated.
Oh my God.
I've been a part of this where like they'll add the host, they'll take away someone, say they didn't really, so you don't know for 6 weeks. Damn. You're like, you know me, I couldn't even tweet, I'm nominated because you don't know. You have to say, I'm so excited for the whole team.
And you were nominated, just so we know, you mentioned the last year's Grammys presentation. This year's.
The 2021 Grammys, which, here's another thing. Last night I realized when I got home, I was like, if Trump had only won, we would have won because we lost to Stephen Colbert's election special, which by the way, fuck them. We was robbed. But if Trump had won, there's no way they would have given it to the election night live special,
right.
And we would have won because we deserved it. But in any case, I'm sorry. So the thing is, at first they announced the show's nominated. 6 weeks later, it shows up in some like website that who's nominated, and you go, oh yeah, I'm nominated. But the day that happened, I got a invitation, like a beautiful printed invitation to Fran and I, you and your +1 RSVP, call this number. I called it first one to RSVP always. The next day they announced, we're moving the show outdoors. That's when I thought, it's outdoors, and now you don't know if you can go, and your award will be the week before, the Schmemmys, I believe Kathy Griffin.
She calls them those?
I think she calls them the Schmemmys. So as far as I knew, I was maybe going to the Schmemmys.
Okay.
As everything else is going on. But in the end, it becomes like, okay, the Grammys, of which there are, I'm a producer, and I think there were 8 producers or whatever, and the host, they said we're going to get 2 tickets. So I figured I'm not going. 2 for the whole team, for the whole thing. Then they say, oh no, 4 tickets for the whole 8, and I think okay, but there's letters going around, and I'm saying to Fran, I should just write and say, you don't need to have me. It's like, let the executive producers go. I'm just a producer. And she goes, don't do that. It's like, how if your wife who advocates for you more than you ever would. So I never say never.
Okay.
And so, so it ends up being that Ben Winston, who's our executive producer and who does a Corden show and did the Friends reunion, he just would not stop advocating for the whole team. Like, we had a real team spirit on this year's Grammys because it was doing shows now. It's like you don't realize how easy you've had it in show business until, because it's the wild fucking West. And there's no rules. You have no idea when the show will actually happen, if the show will happen, if people will die in the process of making it happen. It's just nuts. And so, but he fought for everyone to go. And I found out like a week ago when I was in New York, I'm going, but I did have to make a calculation of like, I'm not a man who owns a lot of tuxedos.
Okay. How many do you own total?
None.
0. All right.
The number would be sad, as we say in England. I'm British because I want to win an Emmy someday, so I'm going to.
Yeah, Brit it up.
Chippery.
Well, that's not going to help you.
Maybe don't do that then.
Maybe don't do that.
But in any case, I made a calculation. I've just been to a wedding and bought a new suit for that. I am not going to come home and try to rent a tuxedo for $150. I'm going to wear my fucking suit.
You got the suit.
And I'm going to buy a black tie. Now, I'm an idiot, so I go back to Men's Warehouse where I bought my suit and said, can I have a black tie? And they went, do you want a bow tie or regular tie? And I bought both. So that,
Now, why does that make you an idiot? Just
well,
out of curiosity.
I didn't know. Well,
I love self-deprecating humor, but to me,
my
that
wife
makes
said,
perfect sense.
don't be an idiot. You can't wear a bow tie with your suit. So
that's why you're an idiot.
Yes, because she told me.
But you could have. I think you would have looked very nice.
Get yourself a cummerbund and a
Nobody not a cummerbund. He's not a fucking waiter.
But I did. I have to say that was the big victory. There were a lot of I've left out the greatest thing that happened last night. And the last 2 times I've lost, I've won in some way I could not have imagined. 2019 I lost, and when I came home to check if the loss was reflected on IMDb, because I'm that self-obsessed, it popped up like this many nominations and another this win, and I'm clicking on like what one of the wins, and it goes Peabody, and I'm like, Peabody? It's like I didn't know I'd won a Peabody, and it's because the Tribute to Heroes won a Peabody, and they eventually recognized the people who were key to it. I was a head writer for it, and I had never known that. I knew
they
the
didn't
show.
send you a certificate or anything?
They had no. The way these things work. Okay, this is. I'm blowing the lid off of this. Like this year, so my wife wrote I would never get it together to write or send a check or know what to do. My wife actually inquired, and she goes, yes, and your certificate, because it took them a while to dig it up. It was 19 years later that and so she got the certificate sent to me, which is super nice.
Certificate for what award?
The Peabody.
The Peabody, which is a good one.
Will you keep saying Peabody. Nobody says Peabody. Isn't it Peabody?
It's Peabody.
Peabody.
You're saying Peabody.
I'm from New Jersey.
So I don't know what fucking award you've won. I don't know if you won some cartoon award.
That's the one that we could technically win.
We can win a Peabody?
Yeah, podcast.
That's because we whiz on each other.
That's right.
To hear the whole conversation, subscribe for free on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts, or visit nevernotfunny.com.